Alright, in this video, I want to talk about dispensations just real quickly. Just to talk about how there obviously is dispensations because people, I guess, have trouble with this. And this is actually very key to understanding the scriptures because we are told to rightly divide the word of truth. I believe that's 2 Timothy chapter 3, but it might be chapter 2. Let's check that real quick. Right here, yeah, chapter 2, verse 15. Study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. Now, why do you need to rightly divide the word of truth? Bible. Because of dispensations. Right? Like Paul says, he's preaching a dispensation of grace. Right? So you gotta grasp what that means. And a lot of people are dispensationalists and don't even realize it. Right? Because you believe there's a dispensation of the Old Testament and a dispensation of the New Testament, or the Old Covenant and the New Covenant. Right? So you believe in those dispensations. You believe in a dispensation of animal sacrifices, dispensation with no animal sacrifices. So you believe in dispensations, you just don't realize you believe in dispensations. You don't realize what it means, right? Apparently, it just seems odd to you. But anyway, I wanted to just briefly say that we read in the Bible about miracles up the wazoo, right? Especially Old Testament and Revelation. We read about God's dealing with Israel, with the believers, and his prophets, and the crazy things they would do, right? But we're not in that age anymore. We're not in that dispensation. We're in the dispensation of the church, which is about faith. We walk by faith, not by sight. And when you actually study this, you see how that the apostles started off doing miracles because they were preaching to who? The Jews. Jesus told them not to go on to the Gentiles or even to the Samaritans who were half Jews, but only on to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, just like Jesus was doing. And that's what they did up until Peter had his vision, not to call what God has cleansed unclean, being the Gentiles. And then he preached the gospel to the Gentiles, and they believed and received the Holy Spirit. So we started to come into the dispensation of grace, the dispensation of the church, and as it changed into the church age, the miracles went away, right? Like Paul, he couldn't help others who were getting sick. He couldn't help himself. He needed a physician with him because it was a new dispensation. It wasn't that dispensation anymore. The miracles and all that stuff is a sign between God and the Jews, right? Not between God and the church. Between God and the church, it's the word. You believe the word or you don't. That's how it is in this age, and that's why we don't see a lot of the things we read about, right? And I just thought that was one of the biggest evidence for the dispensation, because then when you read Revelation, which is the time that's coming up real shortly here, it has a lot of miracles going on. God's two witnesses, the three frogs that come out of the mouths of the beast, the false prophet, and what have you, and the 144,000. You got all these crazy things going on. The angels preaching the everlasting gospel in the sky. It's going to be a different world because the dispensation has changed, right? And that one of the biggest evidences is the miracles and supernatural events and the lack thereof, right? Not that there isn't any miracles or anything today. It's just not at the same scale as it was in the dispensation before the church, or the dispensation that's coming after the church. So it's one of those things to think about, more to just whet your appetite a little bit so that you look into this. I've made a few videos on it, I think one or two, talking about dispensations, but I just felt the need to make this one. So thanks for watching and take care.